You're a professional sound engineer. You deal in frequencies, not phantoms. But then, the tracks on your hard drive start deleting themselves. The studio floods, twice, and the voices coming through your monitors aren't the band. There's something else. This isn't a creepypasta. This is music history. We usually cover these stories in 60 seconds on our shorts, but some nightmares are too big for a minute. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the cursed sessions that nearly killed the biggest bands on Earth. From the damp halls of Led Zeppelin's haunted mansion to the demon that destroyed the Mars Volta's studio. Let's hit record. Welcome back. If you're new here from the Shorts feed, buckle up. We are trading the fast scroll for the full story. Recording studios are weird places. They are soundproofed boxes where time stops and sleep deprivation takes over. It's the perfect breeding ground for paranoia, but sometimes it's not just paranoia. Today we are looking at 3 specific cases. We're going to debunk a major Led Zeppelin myth, expose the very real ritual that sabotaged the Mars Volta, and find out why the scariest band in history, Black Sabbath, might actually be the safest. Let's start with the heavyweights. Led Zeppelin, 1971. They decided to skip the polished studio and record in a rotting, unheated poorhouse in England called Headley Grange. This place was damp, cold, and undeniably creepy. Now, you've probably heard the legend of Black Dog. The song title implies something demonic, a hellhound guarding the gates. Here is the reality check. The Black Dog was a dog, a literal, nameless black retriever that wandered around the grounds. He was old, he smelled bad, and he liked to sleep in the studio. No glowing eyes, no sulfur, just a good boy who needed a bath. However, just because the dog was normal doesn't mean the house was. Jimmy Page, who was obsessed with the occult, claimed the house was genuinely haunted. He refused to go into certain rooms at night. He spoke about seeing a gray lady on the stairs, a ghost that the locals confirmed had haunted the building for years. The atmosphere at Headley Grange was heavy. The dampness got into the equipment. But here's the twist. That haunted atmosphere created one of the greatest drum sounds in history. When the levee breaks, that massive, echoing drum sound, that's the sound of effortless reverb in a stone hallway where people used to die of destitute poverty. The curse of Zeppelin usually focuses on the tragedies that happened years later. Robert Plant's car crash, the death of his son, the death of John Bonham. But the seeds were sown here. They invited the darkness in for the aesthetic, and many believe it never left. Zeppelin had a spooky house. The Mars Volta had a demon. This is the most documented case of a cursed album in the modern era. The year is 2006. Guitarist Omar Rodriguez Lopez buys a curio in Jerusalem, a talking board called the Soothsayer. He gives it to singer Cedric Bixler Zavala. They start using it after shows. It starts fun, but then the board introduces them to Goliath. Goliath wasn't one spirit, it was 3 entities in a trench coat, and they started demanding things. The band actually used the board to write lyrics. Bad move. Once they got into the studio to record The Bedlam in Goliath, the hardware rebellion began. We aren't talking about a blown fuse. We are talking about brand new hard drives wiping themselves clean instantly, tracks disappearing, and the studio flooding twice. The engineer, a guy paid to be logical, had a nervous breakdown. He told the band, "I'm not crazy, but this music is trying to kill us." He quit. He literally tried to destroy the tapes to save the world from the album. The band's drummer quit. Cedric needed foot surgery. It was chaos. So, how do you fix it? You don't call tech support, you call an exorcist. Or in Omar's case, you bury the evidence. Omar took the Soothsayer board, wrapped it up, and buried it in a secret location. He swore never to tell a soul where it is. The bad luck stopped immediately. The album was finished. If you listen to the bedlam in Goliath today, that frantic, anxious energy you hear, that's real terror. So we have Zeppelin's haunted house and Mars Volta's haunted object. You'd expect the final boss of cursed recordings to be Black Sabbath. They wore inverted crosses. They sang about Satan. They are named after a horror movie. But here is the irony. Black Sabbath studio sessions were mostly fine. Sure, they had issues, but they were human issues. Drugs, alcohol, and pranks. The scariest thing that happened in a Sabbath studio wasn't a ghost. It was the band setting their drummer, Bill Ward, on fire as a joke. It proves a psychological point. The Mars Volta believed in the curse, so it manifested. Sabbath used the occult as theater. They controlled the narrative, so the narrative didn't control them. Whether it's the power of suggestion or an actual portal to hell, these albums carry a weight that you can feel through the speakers. Zeppelin created a mystic legacy. The Mars Volta survived a psychic attack. And Sabbath? They just wanted to scare you, not themselves. We're going to be doing more of these deep dives, moving beyond the 60-second limit of shorts. If you want more true crime, music mysteries, and high strangeness, hit that subscribe button. And I want to hear from you. Is there a local band in your town with a cursed story? A legend we missed? Drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, and be careful what you record.